the first thing I want to do is apologize for the acoustics, because I know we've got the other room, but we're going to get through this, all right? So I want to
Good evening, everyone. We're getting ready to get started. Thank you.
Can they not hear me? Okay, now, can everybody hear me? All right, we're about to get started. And if you did hear me the first time, I want to apologize for the acoustics in this room, because they've always been challenging, but we're going to get through this. So again, I want to welcome you all to the Mableton, City of Mableton, Riverside Epicenter Regular Council meeting. Today is June 10th, 2026, and it is now 6:36 p.m. And Madam Clerk, would you mind calling the roll?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Present.
Council member of District 2, Michael McNeely.
Present.
Council member District 3, Keisha Jeffcoat.
Present.
Council member District 4, Cassandra Brown.
Present.
Council member District 5, TJ Ferguson.
Present.
Council member District 6, Deborah Herndon.
Present.
Quorum present.
Thank you, thank you. City Attorney, would you mind leading us in the invocation?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Can you hear me? Okay. All right, if you would like to participate in prayer, I'm hearing if you'd like to participate in prayer, please join me. Heavenly Father, we thank you and praise you for this day. For truly this is a day that you have made. We will rejoice and we'll be glad in this day. We ask that your presence be with our council this evening, that you would lead our Mayor Pro Tem and council members as they make decisions, take care of the business of the city of Mableton. We always pray for our citizens, those present and those not present, that your angels would watch over them, keep them safe as they're here in this meeting, as they return to their homes. We pray for all of our businesses, our public safety officials. And God, we do ask for your wisdom, your providential position over not only the city, but the county, as we move forward to do what's best for the residents of Mableton and Cobb County. We thank you right now, in Jesus' name, for all your blessings. Amen.
Amen, amen. And Councilwoman Brown, would you mind, item 5, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That moves us to item 5, the approval of the agenda. Still can't hear?
Like to.
Okay. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me better now? Okay. I'm going to have to breathe in this mic. All right. Okay. Next is item 5, the approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
It has been motioned by Councilman Ferguson and seconded by Councilwoman Brown. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we'll go to item 6, our public hearings. And we're going to go to item 6A, which is the second public hearing of the fiscal year 2027 budget. This is for the consideration and approval of the second read of ordinance adopting the fiscal year budget 2027. And Director Ellis, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. We have no changes from the last presentation of the budget back on May 27th. So in your packet is the ordinance approving. This is our second and final reading for approval of the 27 budget. If you have any questions regarding that document, I'll be glad to answer them.
All right, Councilor, are there any questions regarding the fiscal year budget?
The only question I have is there were several personnel things that were talked about, but I didn't notice if they got put in there, left out, or what that was.
There were two positions for assistant to the council, one to the mayor. We were able to fill those positions without adding positions by using seasonal employees that are already budgeted for. Those two have been addressed. And then the other positions, I believe, are in it. The business compliance manager is there,
Was in there.
and all the other positions are in there. So the two that were requested, one by the council and then one for the mayor, we were able to use existing positions so we wouldn't have to increase the budget to handle those positions.
Great, thank you.
Council, are there any more questions regarding the fiscal year budget, the upcoming budget? All right. Thank you, Director Ellis.
I'm sorry. This is a public hearing. We need to open the public hearing and ask if anybody else wants to speak, right?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, all right. Okay. So did you make a motion to?
Mayor Pro Tem, you open the public hearing. Open the public
All right.
hearing.
Okay. Well, as of now, we're going to open the public hearing regarding the fiscal year budget.
And we'll need to know if there's anybody opposed. We have one speaker. Go to the podium and state your name, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yashika Marshall. Can you hear me? Pretty good. Can you hear me now? So I oppose the budget. Members of the City Council, I want to say when evaluating the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget, we must first start by acknowledging a fundamental contradiction. The budget documents explicitly outline a core fiscal principle: do not rely on one-time revenue sources to fund ongoing expenses. Yet this proposed budget does exactly that. We are currently facing a massive $4.67 million structural gap between our recurring general fund revenues and our proposed expenditures. To cover this deficit, the administration is proposing to completely drain our available undesignated fund balance, using our savings to fund recurring operational increases like permanent salary adjustments and massive department expansions is an unsustainable practice. Once these reserves are exhausted, we will face a severe fiscal cliff. I urge the council not to adopt the budget as is. Instead, we must implement targeted, quantifiable reductions to protect our financial soundness, especially as we navigate the potential implementation of the Public Safety Department. There are three critical areas where we can logically and systematically reduce our expenditures to protect our taxpayers. Halt the aggressive and unsustainable expansion of administrative headcount. The current position summary reveals an explosive expansion of our city staff from 76 to 97 total employees, an addition of 21 new positions. This injects a massive long-term pension, health care, and salary obligations into our baseline budget. While some core operational growth is expected for our city, the back office spikes are unjustified. For example, the communications department is surging by 84.78%, adding over $495,000 to move from 3 to 5 staff members. The city manager's office is increasing by nearly 60%, adding another $474,000. We must implement an immediate hiring freeze on non-essential back office additions. And by capping this growth alone, and by scaling back the community department's expansion, 5 new roles to 2, we can instantly save over $700,000 without negatively impacting the core structure. We need to defer non-essential pay-as-we-go capital and property outlays. The proposed budget details $3 million in capital assumptions funded directly by cash. In a tight budget year where we are running a severe operational deficit, utilizing cash to fully fund capital purchases is counterproductive. We also need to preserve our reserves to mitigate the looming police tax burden. We cannot view this operating deficit in a vacuum. Dependent on continuing negotiations, the current service IGA expires on May 31st, 2027. Whether we negotiate a new county agreement or set up our own independent municipal police department, the cost will be substantial. The city's current $18 million revenue stream cannot absorb $15 to $25 million without that the police department would actually cost us, without new revenue being able to come in. To fund this, the city will rely on the newly created Public Safety Service District. A single meal on our tax digest generates roughly $1.8 to $2.2 million. Even $15 million police budget would require levying approximately 7 to 8 meals on our residents. However, the city's fund balance could act as a critical bridge to cover initial startup and transition costs. If we burn through $4.67 million of our savings today to cover administrative bloat, those funds will not be there to offset police implementation costs tomorrow. The consequence will be direct, heavier tax burden passed on to homeowners to make up the difference. By executing these quantifiable cuts, freezing new administrative positions, staggering software rollouts, and deferring non-urgent capital projects, we can eliminate at least 60% of the current budget deficit and preserve $2.69 million in savings. Retaining those funds is our best tool to lessen the future millage rate required for police services, honoring our commitment to responsible governance and protecting the financial well-being of our community. Please consider not actually adopting this budget as is.
Good evening. My name is Michael Murphy, and I'm from District 4, jointly led by Councilwoman Cassandra Brown. First of all, I was like to state I was not able to make the last meeting where they had the first reading of the budget. I had spent the better part of the day out on the golf course trying to, well, I'd have been happy to shoot my age, but after that, it was just didn't have enough gas in the tank to get to the meeting. But I had some points, probably not as detailed as the previous speaker, but I want to be on the record nevertheless. First of all, from what I saw, I kept hearing the word conservative, and I, for one, I'm not really necessarily looking for a conservative budget. I'm looking for an effective government. And notice I said effective, not efficient. Government can't be efficient. It's just not designed to be that. So I would have liked to have seen in the budget some allocations for in some specific areas. And by the way, I guess I spent a lot of years in New England where they had a town hall meeting, town hall form of government, and if any citizen posed anything, they had to show how it was going to be paid for. I know that the mayor and council, I know you all have traveled, you've gone to Augusta, enjoyed River Street. I know you've gone to different parts of the country, and I know that any elected official can spend money. I would have liked to have seen more in the revenue enhancement area in the budget. I would have liked to have seen an allocation for a housing study of this city. I've heard about economic development. I would suggest to you that affordable housing is economic development. My concern is our city is becoming a little bit known as the city of the classes and not the masses. And I'm concerned about that, and I think a housing study along with an attainable housing initiative would be well worth the while. I happen to know that the county is considering a land bank. They're going to be looking for a city to partner with. I think it would be an excellent opportunity. I would have liked to have seen the funding for a blue ribbon committee that would address the food desert that we have in our community, the bank desert that we have in our community. You see that Smyrna is getting Whole Foods. Now, I'm not suggesting Trader Joe's is going to move in, That's a wish, and as they say, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. I also would have liked to see funding for food security and a shelter study. I would like to see us take advantage of the fact that we have 3 of the best nonprofits entities around in FLRC, Hope Family Resources, and Sweetwater. It seemed to me that a consortium could be arranged whereby we would address those that are have homeless, that need shelter, and we not rely on people going all the way up to Marietta to get what they should be able to get right here in our community. So I would say that these are some of the areas that I felt that should have been addressed more in the budget that I saw. And I can't emphasize enough that it's about revenue. And I would say that there's a lot of, for me, as I see it, there are acres of diamonds out there. I saw $150,000 for housing, and that's not a lot of money. But I will say this, that I happen to know that the current HUD administrator, who's very familiar with this area, was willing to do a pilot with Magnolia Crossing. Unfortunately, the now chairwoman did not support that, so that meeting did not take place. But I would say that there would be opportunities there for public-private partnership, particularly on the Riverside Parkway corridor. And I thank you very much for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you, most Ms. Marshall and Mr. Murphy. Anyone else opposed? In opposition, rather?
My name is Brenda Nash, and I'm in District 3, and I'm just here as a humble citizen saying that this is not what we bought, what we counted on. I ran with the candidates. Each and every one spoke of wanting to start out small, city-like, let's keep everything low-key, establish it, and a lot of the public people said that ain't gonna happen. They're gonna get into office, they're gonna get money hungry, and all of a sudden your budget's gonna explode, and unfortunately that's what's happening right before our eyes. I'm not here to cast blame or to point fingers, but unfortunately what's happening and that I can see is we're paying double for everything. Even when it comes down to mediation for our city, we're paying the county to mediate on one side and the city to pay on the other side, and it's Cobb County taxes, city taxes, fighting each other, and there's still no resolution. It's just not going in the direction that I had certainly hoped for. We're hiring parks and directors for parks that don't exist because we can't, and Lord knows when we'll ever be able to afford a parks now with the taking on public safety. So we're buying up land that I was told we had to have to borrow money, but you can't borrow your way out of debt. We're exploding the budget in 1 year's time. It's doubled, tripled. It's just, as a citizen, I'm just asking, please slow down. Let's grow responsibly. Let's not try to build Rome overnight, because we all know where this ends up. We've seen it happen in too many other cities before. They go bankrupt. That does happen. It's a reality. You can't spend money you don't have. So please just rethink it and make sure that we're growing slowly and responsibly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nash. Are there any more in opposition to the budget? Going once, going twice? All right. Now, for those who are in favor of the budget, is there anyone who wants to speak at this time? None? Okay, at this time, the public hearing is now closed. Next, we will go to item 7, which is presentations and acknowledgements.
I'm sorry. Mayor Pro Tem, This is an action item now. We've had three presentations on the budget. We advertised that we would take a vote tonight.
Ah, okay, all right. Okay, so. Yes,
Or
Councilwoman
consider
Harrington.
the vote. You can always defer, but you would be at the point to consider a vote tonight. I mean, if you want to defer, that's the option, but it is to be considered today.
Councilwoman Harrington, do you have a question?
Yeah, I actually have a question. Can I still ask questions to our finance director? Okay, are we using all of our fund, can you point that out as to if that is the case?
Councilwoman, we can't really
Want to
hear.
know how much fund balance
If
we're
we-
using?
Yeah,
Oh,
how much of our,
I'm sorry, we can't
I'm
hear
sorry,
you.
I'm asking how much of our fund balance are we using for our budget? Just as a point of clarification.
And before she answers that question, it may be worth explaining that fund balance is normally a surplus that you've had from operating. And you want to have, and she's going to tell you, there's a rule, a standard rule here in the state government, you got to have a certain amount, and Karen will explain what that minimum amount is to have for your fund balance. If you exceed that minimum amount for your fund balance, you are allowed to use it to supplement that one-time use for one-time purchases. For example, if in this budget we are supposed to have a $1 million surplus, and we end up with a $2 million surplus, and we need to purchase 5 cars, we can use that one-time purchase from that surplus above our minimum requirements to purchase those 5 cars, because next year's operating budget won't require that capital purchase. That's called actually using your budget funds and systems very well. So there's sometimes you have way more in savings that you want to have for your goal, and you're allowed to use that to buy the one-time purchases. Now, if it increases your operating budget, that becomes a concern. So I think Karen will explain what we have and how we've done it.
So in order to balance this year's budget for fiscal year 27, we used 4.8 million. If we did not use that 4.8 million, the city would have almost 12.5 million in fund balance. That's 50% of operations. That is more than the city needs. So in order to do some of these one-time projects, for example, we have our transfer to capital, that's $3 million. That's a one-time thing that's going to use for capital projects. We have the housing initiative. We have the public health building. There's a lot of one-time things strewn within our operating budget that will not be there next year. And that's what we use that 4.8 million. They are not recurring bills like the rent or the utilities or salaries. It's not being used for that. And with that, we're still going to have a little over 37% fund balance, which most cities require 25%. So we're another 12% over what's required, minimum required per our ordinance for minimum fund balance. So we are in a very good cash position. We have exceeding fund balance even with using the 4.8 for one-time purchases in the fiscal year.
Okay, and can you give us the number of what is left in our fund balance after we use the 4.8?
7.5 million.
Okay.
Councilwoman Herndon, could you repeat that question? Did everyone hear the Councilwoman's question? Did everyone hear it?
No? Yeah, it's kind of, can we do something with the, yeah.
Could you hear my answer?
Yes, I
Okay,
did.
so what Councilwoman
What-
was asking was, in order to balance the budget, we used fund balance, or what you want to call savings, from the prior year to balance the budget. Revenues should exceed or should meet expenditures. In our case, revenues were less than expenditures. So in order for it to be equal, we used the savings from prior year's savings to balance this budget. And so the 4.8 million that we used to balance the budget, we had 18 million in revenues and 23 million in expenditures. To make that equal, we used savings. And again, it was only for one time. That is the fiscal responsible way to use your fund balance. You shouldn't be using it for ongoing operations because that defeats the purpose of having fund balance to protect the city in case of an emergency. Now that it went down.
And I hope the public also realizes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and Council, still to this date, we have not assessed, the city has not assessed our property tax. All this revenue is based on insurance premium taxes, business license, operating that we've done, and it's, the really insurance premium tax is really healthy. And so our operations of permits, business license, all that, our general fund property tax was still assessed at 0. Now, there is truth about what we're looking at about the future, but that has not been realized yet. But this budget, the revenue that we've achieved did not come from any property taxes on our citizens on the general fund.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
So the city manager mentioned some additional positions. And so I just want to hear from our budget director as well, because that would be regular operating. So if you could speak to those, how the impact of those positions would have on the operating budget.
Well, the increased positions are part of the normal operations, and those are not being funded with fund balance. We have sufficient revenues with the business OC tax, with the insurance premium tax, to fund those ongoing and consistently. So we did cut from the original requests from departments to make sure that we were fiscally responsible and had the funding for it to still be able to maintain positive services for the city.
Okay, well, I just think that's important for people to hear, because that is an impact or a potential impact operations, and we want to be able to speak to that before the residents today. Thank you.
And Mr. McNeil, if I may add, and because the public rarely sees the process, we started this process back in March. I think our department heads requested somewhere around quite a few positions. And when it got to finance, since we're never going to be over what our revenue is, we restricted, at least 20 positions were said no to. And we only use those positions that would be helping and generate and continue revenue, or which we call critical for certain city functions. And so I can guarantee you, no one got any just extra to have extra. All departments were required, all departments were required to cut their requests by 10%, and many departments were told you will not get new positions this year because we want to stay within the revenue that was generated and not fund positions from what we call our savings or fund balance.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I had another question. Director Ellis, can you speak to, outside of the $21 million for public safety, how does this year's budget compare to last year's budget?
So last year's budget, I don't have a lot of it up. Oh, let me go here. Let me see if I can find it up on my screen.
Yes.
So last year's budget, we approved a $20 million budget in expenditures. We're proposing, with all the expenditures that are going to be coming in before June, that we will only have spent about $17 million. And some of that is just because of timing, or maybe those positions weren't filled fully, or we didn't get to the projects we wanted. This year, expenditures we're proposing $23 million. So again, we'd like to budget conservatively to make sure that city has adequate funding to do the most important projects. But at the end of the day, when it comes to spending it, we may not spend all of it, which again, feeds to proper fund balance. And without having to assess our property owners in the course of all of this is even a better, solid fiscal position.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, and I know that, I imagine the council understands you can't engage with the public, but you like for us to answer questions. It is noteworthy to say the modern day Parks Department is not based on park facilities. The modern day Parks Department is based on recreational leisure activities for your citizens, which could include senior programs, youth programs, and events. For 2 years in a row, we've had a full event calendar that is managed by our Parks Department, because the events comes under Parks Department. We also own what we would consider right now 22 acres at a steal. What we is now active, but we are looking at using that for what we call a recreational park facility too. So I think some people think, well, you don't have parks, why you get in the Parks Department? We've been operating blues and barbecue. We've had jazz festivals. We've had movie nights. We've had events all summer. We had a wonderful Mableton anniversary weekend. Senior Living Legends, we do programs for our seniors. We're actually looking at utilizing the Girl Scout camp to do programs for our youth, swimming programs. So they're not sitting around doing nothing. We actually have a parks department to make sure that our citizens have events and venues to attend. We are able to use some of the county parks, like we've done the Mableton Town Square. We've also used the Mableton House for certain things, like the National Day Parade, that kind of thing. So our parks department is active. You do not have to have parks to have a parks department. I worked at the city of Powder Springs. They don't have that many parks, but they have one of the best seafood festivals, rated best event of the year. And sometimes just giving your citizens cultural arts, affairs, performing arts, and our parks department is doing very good in that area. So I wanted the council to know that we understand that you have to make sure your constituents know we're not just shooting from the hip. And sometimes they don't know because we don't get this information out. But a lot of information is on our website, including this budget that's been on the website now, I believe, for a while. So I want to address that, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, even though it wasn't asked.
So I do have a question. I would like to take this opportunity for the director to explain to us how our courts is, our municipal court is, how it's funded.
Go ahead.
Well, currently, it is in a rented facility, and so it is not a city asset, but we do have budgeting for leasehold improvements within our facilities department of the general fund budget. So that was budgeted originally, I believe, at, what's it?
So right now,
8 million, 800? Yeah, yeah.
talking capital, but if we're talking operating, it's coming out of general fund staff.
Yeah, are you talking about staffing or capital?
Well, kind of, well, look,
Both?
you know, there's a narrative out there that we started a court and then needed,
Yeah.
Okay, so you see where I'm headed?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for asking that question, Ms. Brown. Our court has been in operation now for November, December, 8 months. Another modern day technology is now you do not have to have a hard physical court for people to show up. With technology, you can do what we call virtual courts. If you have these property owners who do not live in Mableton but own properties in Mableton and they're not taking care of them, they no longer have an excuse to say they can't come to court, because we can assign them to court to come on in a Zoom or a Meets format, and they can still be awarded fines and be judged. So we've been operating now for 8 months. The court has been operating virtually for 8 months. That court is funded from our general funds and the staff operating from there. Now, the court eventually does want to get to where you do have the option not to just do virtual and have a physical space, and we've built that from our facilities without going budget, and that's what Karen's speaking of. So our court is funded well. It has been staffed, it's been used. We have cited people for one of the biggest concerns that the citizens have asked for is dealing with illegal dumping and littering. And thanks to Mr. Barry Krebs, who finds stuff in the mail or in the trash pile, and our code enforcement officers are bringing people into that court, and they are being cited and warned, and we're getting compliance. I know sometimes the public doesn't know that, but yes, ma'am, the court is operating. It's not that we set it up before we were ready. We're actually operating. We're just transitioning now to not just have a virtual court, but also have a virtual and in-person court in place. And we believe that should be ready no later than August 1st.
I have something else.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. McNeely?
So along those lines, of course, this is related to the court. We're working, I know the team is working diligently to expand the services that are there, but there are also additional steps as we are learning that need to be addressed, and those will have a dollar amount attached, not knowing exactly how much that may be to ensure that the court is fully operational. How would we anticipate any expenditures that we don't have an exact figure for now, because the court goes beyond code enforcement type charges. It goes beyond the virtual. It goes to misdemeanor charges that go beyond what we're talking about now, and the technology and other aspects that are required. Staffing may be a part of that as well. So how are we going to ensure that we don't go beyond what our means in an effort to expand our court and to then inevitably be fully operational, which we're not at that point today?
We had our solicitor, our chief justice, and our court administrator state the other night that the court that we have built was built to handle the capacity of the things that we have not even experienced. I think right now they were talking something like 100 cases a month, but this court is able to handle up to 2,000 cases a month, which anticipates that if we would have those. Now, some of the things you're speaking on have to do with an IGA that is right now is more legal conversation, which I want to address. What are we expecting to do, what we do? But I will say this, our court is ready with current staffing, we participated, and current funding to handle a full load misdemeanor traffic and code enforcement. The question you're asking is really, I know where you're getting at, is we don't know what the volume would be here in Mableton because we've can only based our volume based on what Cobb County has done in this area. And you can make adjustments based on if you have cases that are now a month behind, we will look at the caseload. But from what I've heard from the solicitor and from what I've heard from the chief judge and from the court administrator, we're not at capacity. And so we should be able to handle any of those things if that is required of us here anytime soon.
And we've already taken that volume into consideration as we continue to graduate year over year. You're saying you've already considered that in the estimate that's in the budget?
Yes, ma'am.
Quick question, and this may have passed me, but when you make that assessment and actually anticipate that volume, how do you base those numbers on the anticipated volume?
Great question. So when we communicate with other municipalities, for example, if the city of Mableton communicates with Cobb County and asks them what are the number of average citations you're running through that within city boundaries, we can get an estimate. So our court administrator has gone over to Cobb County and kind of got an estimate. So she kind of based staffing and setups based on the estimates of what Cobb County was saying is happening in this area. So we do use data to make decisions and then project. What Mr. McNeil is getting to is anybody says you can have a game plan in a football game, you can have coaches and X's, O's written on the sheet, but you really don't know what's going to happen to the game until you actually play the game. And so there are some things that we may not have anticipated, but our finance director is very skilled at allowing us to have what we call contingency funds in case there was something we didn't anticipate. That's how last year our 21 million budget was only expended at 17 million. And most of that was because we didn't have full staffing. Sometimes you get staff laid off, sometimes staff may be unfortunately terminated, and you have what we call salary savings. And so even if we have to recognize that something we didn't anticipate with the court, or something we may not have anticipated with any department, we have enough cushion in there, especially with fund balance, to be able to offset that and deal with it in a future year. So this budgeting is an art, and we're very fortunate. Karen Ellis is well respected around this state, probably one of the best finance directors that I've worked with, and I've worked with quite a few. I'll stack her up against Bill Volkman, who's very good too at the county. And so she's very skilled at making sure the things that you discussed, the concerns that people have, do we have enough? Will we run out? Will we get past money? That we take all that in consideration. What she's done with the capital budgeting, a lot of Cobb County doesn't do this. Some people don't plan for budgets. Okay, if your roof falls in or your door jumps in, they don't put money aside. We're putting money aside just in case we have a capital expenditure that doesn't fit within our operating budget, and in the future we have an emergency fund to handle capital. So all those things about can you anticipate, are we going to run out, we consider all that when we set this budget.
Can we speak just briefly on the perception that is this explosive growth in our budget and why it appears that way, why we are spending money in the way that we are? Can we talk about that?
Yes, ma'am. That's actually a great question because perception is sometimes people's reality. When we started the city out, I'm not laughing at this, we started a city for 70,000, 78,000 citizens with 4 employees. Myself, Susan, Lily, and Allison, and the council. A lot of the work was placed on some of our council members. Our website was done by Mr. Ferguson, and Ms. Jeffcoat got involved with planning and parks and this kind of stuff. And so when we start out, you're under what you think you should be because you're not fully operational. It took us 1 year to become fully operational. We had to get 3 services activated before what we call, the state requires, an active city status. And so we started out with 0 departments. one department, call it business license department, strictly to raise revenue. And then when you come in and you have one person doing your finances, you start realizing you're not even meeting auditing standards. So as we grow, the explosive growth is really just filling up the cup to where we should be operating efficiently. Some of our employees now are just 1 year old in a 3-year department. So what I commend the council on is that you didn't hire an engineering firm to run this city where you would have gave away all of the money. You operate on a very shoestring budget, allowed us to have a savings. You hired me after 8 months. You got a city manager here after 8 months of operating. And then we gradually began to add staff. For finance, you got to have all these pieces. Procurement, you got to have budgeting, you got to have a good director. And so when we got code enforcement, we had to get a place to stay, we had to buy vehicles. None of that happened on day one. That all happened gradually. So what you look at after 3 years is now you see a fully staffed city where it should be for a city our size. We are still per capita way under, I won't say understaffed, we are very lean and efficient. When you look at about 60 employees per 70 or 80,000 citizens, I would dare any person to go look at any other city and see how many employees they have for much smaller cities. And so to answer your question in a short one, it looks like we had explosive growth, but what really happened is we grew slowly as we could afford it, and we only added people once we had the money to handle it.
Thank you, City Manager.
Yes, sir.
Again, I'm going to ask, is there anyone who is in favor of the budget who would like to speak at this time? No? Okay. All right. In that case, we will ask for a motion for the consideration and approval of the adopting the fiscal year 2027 budget. Unless there's any more discussion from the council, any more questions? No?
I'd like to make a motion that we defer voting this evening and allow us to review some of the feedback that we've received today.
All right.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I do want to let the council know we have a legal obligation to have this budget passed before July 1st. You have one more meeting in June 24th, actually June 23rd. And so we could not be in compliance if you don't have a budget adopted by July 1st. And so I'm not saying something catastrophic could happen on June 23rd, but the reason we set this on June 10th is to make sure that we didn't have anything would stop y'all from adopting the budget on time. So I understand you may want to consider that, and this is the council's choice, but I think it is my obligation as a city manager to let you know that there's a legal requirement for this city to have a budget adopted before your fiscal year starts, and you only have one meeting, and you have 0 meetings in July.
Thank you, and that is duly noted. Council?
There's a motion on the floor, so it would require a second. If we don't have the second, it would die for a lack of motion. Okay.
You second? Okay. All right, the motion has been made and duly second. All in favor?
No, discussion. Any further discussion? You still have to.
Is there any further discussion then, again?
And can we again hear what the motion was? It's kind of hard to hear.
Oh, well, I made a motion that we defer. However, I think I need to, based on the fact that we need to do this by the 1st.
The next meeting's June 23rd.
24th, so we can defer.
Unless you defer it to the town, before the town hall and call a special call or something.
Say that again, I'm sorry?
We have a town hall on the 15th if you wanted to do a special call then or something, but June 23rd is our next meeting as far as regular meetings.
Okay.
Okay. So let's do this. You've made the motion.
Well, so I'll defer, I'm asking that we defer our decision until the 23rd to allow us an opportunity to socialize this among ourselves.
Okay. And I think it was it seconded by Councilwoman Herndon? It was you, Devin, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Is it something, the deferment, is it something that we could have a discussion on or around in executive session tonight?
Sure.
Well, only to the extent it involves a legally allowable exception. So if it deals with litigation, personnel,
Right.
real
So-
estate, you can, but outside of the legal bounds, you would not be able to bring it up.
Okay, well, it has been, the motions have been made and, has been duly seconded. All in favor of deferring this until the 23rd, this decision? By a show of hands, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, looks like the ayes have it. So this will be deferred until our next meeting. Next is item 7. Now we're on time. Presentations, acknowledgements, and proclamations. The first item is item 7A, presentation of the Municipal Leader, Community, and Workplace Culture Certificate to Councilwoman Keisha Jeffcoat. And looks like Director of Member Services, Dr. and Freddie Broome of the Georgia Municipal Association. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Good evening, everyone. My name is Freddie Broome, and I'm Director of Member Services for the Georgia Municipal Association. And I'm here tonight on behalf of Georgia Municipal Association to recognize Councilmember Jeffcoat on completing the Municipal Leader Community Workplace Certificate Program. This is a leadership program that we offer at GMA. This is our 4th year offering it. So Councilmember actually joins 100 leaders from across the state, including your city manager, Tanks, that has completed this program. This program is designed to help leaders understand who they are as leaders and identify how they can be better leaders. So the first part of it really talks about getting them to understand what leadership looks like to them. They learn about transformational leadership, servant leadership. They learn about emotional intelligence. And then once they learn everything about what leadership is and how it looks to them, then the second part of the program is designed to equip them to understand how do you bring this back to your communities and how do you better serve your communities. And so they have trainings on public safety, community stakeholder engagement, community economic development, best human resource practices. And then the last part of the class is when they actually do a capstone project where they have to either think of a program they currently have that they can enhance or create a new program that they can bring back to their community. And they present that, and then once they complete that program, it's when they officially graduate. This is an 8-month program, so it requires them to meet once a month at our GMA headquarters. And so we're excited to be here tonight to recognize Councilmember Jeffcoat for successfully completing this program and joining leaders from across the state of Georgia as graduates of this program.
Please. Which is a project update for the illegal dumping mitigation efforts. And Director Emily Ryan, our Sustainability, Greenspace, and Beautification Director, you have the floor, along with Mr. Silver, it appears.
Good evening, community, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. Myself, along with Code Enforcement Director Silver, are hoping to provide you all with a brief check-in update on, our city manager mentioned it earlier, one of the priority focus areas of myself and Mr. Silver, illegal dumping. So we first want to go over, the recent work that we've done through the solid waste ordinance amendments, give you some updates on the equipment that we're using to tackle this problem, and some administrative tactics as well. And very briefly, I'll end with some sustainability department updates as well. So recently, the council has approved an ordinance amendment to our solid waste ordinance that really hits hard on scrap tires, enforcement all the way from generation of new tires to storage, handling, disposal, and everything in between. It requires tracking of the manifest of where all those tires have started and ended. We've also raised the fines for major and minor dumping, and at this point I'll stop here for a specific update from Director Silver related to his side of the shop on this.
Thank you. Good evening. We have actually been very successful with court with the illegal dumping. We have actually had several, we've actually issued 15 citations. The courts have actually served citations as well as fines to several people who have littered within the city. So we actually are very happy and pleased with what we've been doing, and we've noticed that the court is supporting us in those efforts because, as you know, we have illegal dumping is not as bad as what it was. I think people are starting to know that they can't do it, so we are actively going against them. If we find anything with Barry, he's been very good with giving us the information that we need. So what we do when we get those, we go to the person that is citing them with citations. We go to their houses, we go to their businesses, and we actually issue them citations. A lot of them are telling us that they did not know that the people that they were getting off of Facebook was literally getting the business from them, and they actually literally was illegally dumping throughout our city. So once they come into court, we understand that, but we still issue them the citations and let them know that they need to do better with whoever they're going to deal with as far as that illegal dumping. So we actually are very aggressive with that. We actually are going to still be, anytime we find out someone is illegally dumping and we find out who they are, we're going to wherever they live and we're actually going to cite them.
Thank you, Mr. Silver. And then briefly, some additional tactics that we're working on are specifically equipment. And I'll touch on this on the next slide, is we are intending to install 20 signs along our right-of-way throughout different hotspots of the city, installed by Cobb DOT, and we do have one pilot camera on Mableton property. Our next steps that we're actively working on more administratively is something that will be really helpful to us, a Georgia Power Pole Attachment Agreement that will allow us to attach equipment to utility poles in the right-of-way to install additional equipment, signs, cameras, and things like that. And we're also considering a STAR grant application through the Environmental Protection Division. This is a scrap tire abatement reimbursement grant. It's not competitive, so all we have to do is apply at the will of the council, and the municipality gets a reimbursement pot of money for $75,000 for tire mitigation on a reimbursement basis every fiscal year. So that's what we're targeting here as well. A little bit about the EPA and signs specifically. We've been informed and educated on how we're going to approach this sign installation through the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. They've recently published an illegal dumping prevention guide, this time last year, and they've noted that signage is a core tool in prevention as long as it has specific fines and surveillance warnings, along with monitoring and enforcement from our code enforcement department, community engagement from active volunteers, Keep Mableton Beautiful, and lighting is a known source to help as well. So we're proposing to install 20 signs in the right-of-way. Similar, but obviously different to the City of Mableton city limit signs. But we felt that it would be good to let the community and the council know that visually you will see these signs start to pop up. We're targeting the central Mableton core around districts 3, 4, and 5, Mableton Parkway and Veterans Memorial. We're targeting the commercial area in North Mableton along the east-west connector, and South Gordon Road and I-20 corridor in districts 1 and 2. You'll notice there are some illegal dumping signs that have been installed historically previously by Cobb County. Those are the ones on the left, and they do not really adhere to the EPA's guidance for dumping signs. The one on the right is the ones that we'll be installing that you'll see throughout the city, designed by our communications department, and they do, have a little bit more teeth to them. So we just wanted to give you, council and community, an update on what you'll start to see throughout the city. And while I'm here, I will make a shameless plug to additional sustainability events that are upcoming for our residents. Energy efficiency in the home, we're offering 2 classes for home weatherization to educate residents on energy improvements that they can make in their home and understanding utility bills. And we'll also be covering the Great Southeast Pollinator Census in August. And Jerry and I will take questions, any and all questions.
Council, do you have any questions? Mr. McNeely?
Yeah, so I appreciate the efforts on both your parts for what you're doing on behalf of our city. Would you share with us, based on your experience, Director Silver, some examples of what a minor dumping case would be versus a major?
Say that one more time.
So I'm looking at the fine increase for minor dumping and major dumping. So could you give a few examples of cases you had so people could have a clear understanding of what a minor dumping case would be versus a major?
Yes, sir. Currently, most of the cases we've done were minor, meaning that there was trash and litter under, if you can think of what size box that a washer and dryer comes in, that is considered minor. Anything that's excessive past that amount is considered major. We have issued 2 citations on that, and that's on Lions Club. We're waiting for that case to come up in court, and we'll be dealing with that. So it's 2, that is the one property that we know we have a big issue on, and we have actually issued a citation, and we're waiting for that to come to court. That could be considered major because of the amount of trash that's over there, which is probably a size full of a dump truck. So
Okay,
that would be considered a major.
So it's more about the volume, and you give an example of the difference there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Council, are there any further questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. So I want to thank Mr. Silver because last week I received a email first from a resident, and this was about the Caliber Car Wash on Floyd Road, and apparently their vacuum system was broken, and it was emitting an extremely loud noise that was heard all over the Floyd Road corridor, and they refused to turn it off. I contacted Mr. Silver at the beginning of business hours the next day, and the team, I guess it was you personally, went over and got that issue taken care of. And so I just wanted to tell you that I appreciate the prompt attention to that particular issue because it was really disturbing folks' quality of life.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Are there any further questions, Council? All right, I just want to make a quick comment too. I want to thank the both of you for the job that's well done. One of the things that's been near and dear, I've lived in this area since 1997. I've seen people, organizations like the Austere Community Task Force do cleanups. I've helped with Barry Krebs. I've seen him do cleanups. I've seen where one day after those cleanups are done, trash bags are thrown right back out there. So I think this is something that's needed in this area. This area of the city and the county is not a dumping area. And so anything to alleviate that or to eliminate it altogether, you've got my full support. So I just want to thank you again for a job well done.
Thank you, sir.
This brings us to item 8, appointments. I don't think there are any tonight. So we'll go on down to item 9, public comments. And Madam Clerk, you want to give them the ground rules for the
Yes, thank you,
public
Mayor Pro
comments?
Tem. Just a reminder, it's 2-minute time limit. Please follow the decorum rules, which are always listed on the back. And I only have 2 cards so far, so I hope everybody's turned them in. But our first speaker is Michael Murphy, and then following Mr. Murphy is Brenda Nash.
Well, good evening again, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I also like to add kudos again to Councilwoman Jeffcoat on the award, well deserved, I'm sure. And I thank the Council for their deferral vote on the budget. I wanted to point out what I'm sure you may already know, but June is National Housing Month. And that allows emphasis to be placed on housing access and affordability and the roles that banks and financial institutions play. Has immediate impact on economic development. We know we have aggressive plans here in the city of Mableton, economic development, but imagine getting a company or business to open here that would hire people and they're commuting from good distances because of affordability. I had the opportunity, and I've known for some time, that the City of Atlanta's housing guru, Terry Lee, is a resident of Mableton. I say that because there, again, we have gems in our city, and I'm sure they would be very happy to help. As you know, I've been an advocate for the Land Bank Authority for some time, and I'll maintain that advocacy. I just want to say, too, that Cobb County has probably the best employee down payment assistance program. The city of Atlanta has instituted a down payment program of up to $65,000. Any new homeowner will tell you that the toughest hurdle is that downstroke, that down payment. So again, I thank the council. I know Mayor Pro Tem has had some programs this month and has some more on the table. So again, remember, a house is not a home unless someone is living there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, Brenda Nash, District 3. I just want to address the Parks and Recreation Director because as I have attended all the wonderful events that Mableton's put on for the seniors and for the prayer breakfast and the National Day of Prayer, all wonderful events, and I do appreciate the city for sponsoring those, but if it requires a Parks and Recreation Director at this point in time, I just don't think we're it's financially feasible for us to have that benefit if we're going to have to fund a police department. And on that note, I would just like to please ask the City Council, please slow down and consider this step of setting up our city police force under pressure, under an emergency. It's something that needs to be thought out so carefully and given so much attention to that anything we can do to keep Cobb County Police in force for one more year, as long as we got the $13 million that I know that's not, may or may not still be on the board, but on the offering table, but if it is, we need to consider it because that's really something that needs to be thought through. And I'm not saying we don't need our own police force. I'm just saying don't do it in an emergency. Don't do haste makes waste. Don't make another mistake. So that's all I'm asking. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's all the cards that I have.
We will now close public comments. That takes us to item 10, the consent agenda. And we'll start with item 10A, the ratification of council member approved elevations. That's at Morris Mill located at Cooper Lake.
You just have to do
This one motion for all the consent.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second?
All right. The motion's been made and duly seconded. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, now we'll go to item 10A, ratification of council member.
No.
Okay, my bad. Okay, we will now go to new business.
Unfinished.
All right. Okay, I want to make sure. All right, new business. That takes us to 12A. This is a second read for the consideration and approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 2, the administration of the City of Mableton Code of Ordinances. And
Mayor Pro Tem, if we could defer that to the meeting next scheduled for this month, which is the 23rd.
okay, all right.
I'd like to make a motion to defer item 12A, consideration and approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 2, administration of the City of Mableton Code of Ordinances.
You have a second?
A second.
All right. All in favor of deferring this item until the 23rd? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, we will go next to item 13. Other business or discussion. Do we have any other business of discussion? I don't think so. And next comes the city manager's announcements or comments. City manager, do you have any announcement or comments?
Yes, sir. It's interesting, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I actually wanted to thank our staff. The Mableton Day weekend was just a resounding success. Considering where we started, we actually had to go out and get a consulting firm to do that first birthday anniversary, and actually my recommendation was, let's get a cake and one candle, sing Happy Birthday Mableton, and keep it moving. But the mayor and the council insisted on that we would let our citizens know we had something to celebrate. And in hindsight, I'm glad we did that, because this Mableton Day weekend, our citizens showed up. They were happy. They were glad to see the city. We had vendors out, food trucks out, and it was just a good weekend. And then the Living Legends breakfast, to see those seniors come out and be recognized and celebrated. So I want to publicly thank our staff that pulled this off, Dr. Newton, Travis, and of course Michelle, the 3 members in our Parks Department, and all the volunteers. We had a lot of volunteers from around the city to show up and help out, and a lot of volunteers from our staff that contributed to that day. So thank you for all those that helped make the Mableton, the 3rd Mableton birthday anniversary a good weekend.
And Madam City Clerk, do you have any comments?
Yes, I just have one comment. We keep talking about the June 23rd meeting. Just want everybody to catch that that's a Tuesday, not a Wednesday. We have Moroccan visitors that week, and we moved that meeting to Tuesday, the 23rd.
Thank you. All right, council, let's start with Mr. McNeely. Councilman McNeely.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So a couple of things. One or two, if you haven't already heard about the Creekside Village at Factory Shoals developments, the public-private partnership that's located in District 2. It will be a minimum of 209 units for mixed income houses. There will be single-family homes as well as townhomes. This is still very early in the process, so we look forward to hearing more from the Mableton Development Authority as well as Brock Homes. We heard from the owner of the company on Monday at the work session. He has had several successes with other projects around Metro Atlanta, so we're optimistic about what this development will mean for our community, but we will continue with the process, hearing more from him and the authority, and asking questions and making sure that you all are part of the process, and making sure that it is going to be something ultimately that will be a great benefit to our community and allow for more options for residents, both now and those that may come to our city. Secondly, as you all may also know, on next Monday, June 15th, here at Riverside Epicenter, there will be a public safety town hall, so I encourage you to attend, and I encourage you to invite others who are not here. It's important that we get to a resolution. I'm a public safety professional. We're all invested in public safety and want to ensure that if we call 911, if we need assistance, that assistance is going to come. And so I want to say that I'm thankful to Sheriff Craig Owens, Cobb County Sheriff, who deputized several of the Cobb County police officers to ensure that our services have continued and are going on right now. But ultimately, we have to have a resolution, and you all need to be able to hear from your city leadership. You need to be able to ask your questions. We need to come to a resolution sooner rather than later, and so I encourage you to be there with us on Monday, June 15th. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jeffcoat?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. I do want you to keep one of our community leaders and our state leader in your prayers. Our community leader who's on the school board, Trey Hutchins, and Senator Donzella James both lost their mothers. And so, you know, I want to just publicly share my condolences, and just please make sure you keep them in your prayers. And I also want to congratulate, you know, school board member Trey Hutchins. He also just recently graduated with his doctorate degree, and he's actually a constituent in my district, and so I just wanted to acknowledge that and just congratulate him. That's a huge milestone, and yes, and so just make sure you keep both of them in your prayers. Also, FIFA is here. We'll have our first match that'll take place on June 15th. There's a lot that's going on in and around Cobb County. There'll be some watch events, watch parties, so make sure you go to Cobb Tourism website. They have a Kick It Cobb. There's a lot that's going on and a lot of festivities, so make sure you get involved. And then I also want to wish all of the fathers a happy Father's Day. I want to thank you all for what you do in your community, your leadership, providing for your families, all that you do. We have some fathers on the dais. Councilman Ferguson. Yes, okay. Councilman McNeely. Also, our city manager, Bill Tank. So thank you all for all that you do as fathers. I know that Councilman Ferguson is passionate about his daughter. And so just thank you so much. We appreciate it. I also want to say that we're going to celebrate Juneteenth on June 19th. Please make sure you go on our website. There should be some local events that are happening throughout not just the city of Mableton, but also neighboring cities as well as Cobb County. So happy Juneteenth, everyone. That's all I have.
Oh, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'm sorry. I just want to add one thing. So I mentioned the Public Safety Town Hall. I said the location and the date, but I didn't say the time. So that's 6 p.m. here at the Epicenter, June 15th on Monday. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
6 to 8.
Thank you. Councilwoman Brown?
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. So I've just got a couple things. First of all, I want to take a point of personal privilege and wish my husband a very happy Father's Day. I appreciate him. I have a disabled sister that actually lives with us, and so I don't know if he realized that when we got married, he was getting 2 of us. And so I really appreciate him. We have 2 daughters, and I just want to acknowledge him on this day. Also, I think it's already been mentioned about the town hall. I hope that you all can be there. I did see some feedback from individuals about the room, and so I can assure you, we're not going to be in this room with these lousy
Yes,
acoustics.
yeah.
And so
Thank you for that.
we will be in the auditorium where there's much more seating, so we can accommodate the crowd that we anticipate. Also, you know, I do send out my heartfelt condolences to both Trey and to our Senator Donzella James on the loss of their mothers. It was just very kind of upsetting for me because I had spoken with her the night before her mom died, and she was telling us how her mother was 94 years old and she was still so full of life and everything, and then the next morning found out that she was gone. So, you know, hey, kiss your loved ones and let them know that you care about them. And then finally, I just wanted to let everyone know that Heritage Park, which was closed for a period in order to repair the boardwalk, is back open, and there's really 2 cool events that are happening there on the 13th. So there's a Trail Ambassadors work party that will go on at 9 a.m., and then there is a hike, family hike that will go on at noon. So hopefully, please come out, enjoy that. It's a wonderful park. And, oh, one last thing, on the 20th, Buckner Road, we will be having our quarterly trash cleanup. So if you're on Buckner Road or you just like picking up trash, come over, join us, and help us clean the road up. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. Councilman Ferguson.
Good evening, all. The only announcement that I have, since everybody took everything else, I do want to shout out my boy, Trey. We are thinking about you, praying about you, and everything that you have going on. I know your relationship with your mom, and so I'm definitely sorry for your loss. We're here for you, brother. And Miss Donzella, too. On the Saturday, I will be doing a cleanup district-wide, District 5, over by the library, and I will tell you up front that while I have been planning this for the longest time, circumstances always come up, and I will not be there. However, I hope that you all will come and will show up and help clean up that area of the district. I'm unfortunately battling a crazy foot situation, so hobbling around out there is not really all that bright. But please come out, please work on that. We're going to do some other events here coming up very soon in District 5 in that same area, and I look forward to continue working here for you and with you.
Councilwoman Herndon.
All right, good evening to everyone. Thank you for being here, as well as we have 22 people who have tuned in today online, so the numbers are definitely growing, including, I have to say, a very good friend of mine who tunes in every week from West Greenville, Pennsylvania. He doesn't even live in the city, and he kind of tunes in to see what's going on in Mableton. So, you know, we're definitely, our reputation is definitely getting around the country, so I appreciate him logging in. I only had one announcement. Tomorrow, as a matter of fact, I'll be kicking off, in conjunction actually with one of my constituents, our summer Pick a Partner Summer Book Club. This is for 2nd and 3rd graders, and we're going to be doing our kickoff sign-in as well as our book giveaway at one of our newest businesses in the city of Mableton, which is Jeremiah Italian Ice. And so for those of you who have students that are 2nd or 3rd grade, I encourage you to come. They will be reading, at least for the first month, a book called On the Line, My Story of Becoming the First African-American Rockette, and that is by Jennifer Jones. The book is beautifully illustrated, so I definitely encourage you, if you have 2nd and 3rd graders, to come out tomorrow between 5 and 6 p.m. at Jeremiah Ice. I will be sponsoring the free ICES, and we will be giving out the book that we'll be reading for the month, and hope to see you there. So thank you all. Safe travels home tonight.
Thank you. I just have a couple of things, and again, everyone said it, but still, with Dr. Trey Hutchins now and Senator James, our hearts are with you, our prayers are with you. The first thing I want to say is, Um, as I look across this, from this dais and looking at all these faces, one thing I can say about the Mableton community, you care about your community. You really do. We may not agree on how the community should go or where it should go or how it should grow and that kind of thing. But one thing I can say, and I've lived from one end of this country to the other, the Mableton residents care about their community. And really, I know they do this at church, but you need to give yourselves a hand clap of praise, because that is something, I applaud each and every one of you for doing that, for caring, because that makes a community real and that makes a community strong. And we're gonna get this thing going. We're gonna get it to where it should be, all right? Now, the next thing I wanna say is, and I made this announcement before, but it is still ongoing. Mr. Murphy reminded us that June is home ownership month, and it really is. June is home ownership month. Right here at the epicenter, we have a display that's been going on. It's been here for a couple of weeks, but we had the ribbon cutting on June the 2nd. The theme is Tuesday Keys to Equity. It's a Tuesday Keys to Equity series. The last one we just had was on the 9th of June, which was this past Tuesday. This series is geared toward different sectors, as educators, public safety, and veterans. This past Tuesday, it was geared toward and reached out to the educators that are interested in home ownership. Because one of the things, and it's kind of sad, but it is true, we know that home prices have far outstripped wages, and that there are a lot of people who work in Cobb County that cannot afford to live in Cobb County. And we want to change that. We want to change that. So join us for the next series, which is June 23rd, and this is going to be geared toward public safety workers. And the next one is June 30th, which is geared toward veterans. On the 27th, there will be a Pathways to Home Ownership and NID counseling workshop, which is going to be 4 hours. There is limited seating, so if you're interested or know someone who's interested in home ownership, I invite you to have them come by, because there's some valuable information that I think a lot of people can use. So again, and that's right here at the Riverside Epicenter. That particular event is going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. With that being said, the other thing I will say, and I think Councilwoman, you said it perfectly. Care for your loved ones. I've been to 3 funerals in the past 2 weeks, and it's not been pretty, but you know what? You want to make sure that, I know sometimes family can do whatever, but at the same time, just tell your loved ones that you love them. Don't take them for granted, because no day is promised to us, all right? And with that being said, have a great day, a great rest of your week, and we will be going into executive session next, which is item 17.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All right,
Wait a minute, for real estate, personnel, litigation, and miscellaneous.
All right, the motion's been made and properly second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? No opposed? All right, we will go into executive session, and if you're here when we come out, God bless you. But thank you again for all coming.
I'd like to make a motion to exit executive session.
I second.
The motion has been made and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? No opposed. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn for the night.
I'd like
move
to
to
make a
adjourn.
motion to
Second.
adjourn.
The motion has been made and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? There are no opposed. We are now adjourned.